Hello, everybody. I'm Professor Render, and welcome to our Link to the Past Randomizer daily race here on Speaking 5. We have ourselves casual boots, and tonight's runners are Smirk JD and my Rambler, Hitman 1382, and Andrew. I'm Professor Render, and joining me is our Terrell. How are you doing?
Hi, Professor Render. I'm doing well, and you?
That's good. So yeah, this is our casual boots race. So this means we have a starting sword, and we also have starting Pegasus boots, and it is a standard start. So that means we will start in Link's house, and we will have to go through escape to get us to get Zelda, and then bring her to the sanctuary, like pretty much the start of the game. Um,
Yeah, and in this case, because we have boots, we don't have to look for bombs right away, which is kind of nice for the players. They don't have to go back into escape to get this done. But they will need to find bombs for Kakariko Village, though, so we'll see if they can find some. And we start with a shield. It's everyone's favorite item.
Yeah, it's an early shield. One of the nice things about this is that you have, even though you do have your boots, you still can cut through glass as if you had a sword, but you don't have the graphic. But you don't have that graphic on. So, like the sort of the graphic of the sword. We get 3 bombs, which is a great way to start off because we won't. We'll have bombs for Kakariko,
Yeah.
because even though we have boots, we can use those boots to get deck of escape, which is you'll see commonly with these with the casual boots race.
Yeah, and having found the bombs here, that's going to be a little bit of a relief to the players who won't have to go out of their way to buy them in Kakariko, unless they start through Link's house, try their luck with the vendor down there, and then make their way from the south, which happens from time to time. Less common though with the standard start. So we'll see what they decide to do there.
Yeah, and this is one of the nice things is that, like, with the boots, we can get through this game, get through the front of escape really quickly. But most of the route that you see at the start of the game is pretty much just standard. Well, a lot of the folks were already getting the spin that was necessary to have the key guard situated right next to the door. That way you just grab the item, just pick up the key, and you're already there. And in this case, you're aiming for, instead of a 6-minute escape, you're aiming for like sub 5:30. Just because the boots shave off that much time.
Yeah, it's one of the rare places where you can shave that much time. Usually the boots don't help us that much in a lot of the dungeons because there's not a lot of places to run. But there's a few like this one that's going to be really helpful. So this also means that the siege should be really fast. Unless, of course, the seeds decide to be a little bit mean.
Right, yeah, and it's that there's always that possibility that a seed could just end up being rude, and like most of the time. Yeah, it is what it is.
And we're about to get out with Zelda here, and we'll be on our way to the sanctuary. So we got flippers with that. Not really useful right now. All these players can fake flipper, so it's not going to prevent them from any checks. And dungeon-wise, it doesn't do anything for us. We're going to be looking for the Moon Pearl, of course, and then gloves and armor, or gloves and mitts, and to be on our way. There's always the possibility of a lamp, and that's not something anyone wants to see. So they don't want to go do Aga one, so a lamp would not be a nice discovery, but we'll have to do it when we find that.
Right, yeah, and one thing about these is that with the boots, with the boots being on our feet right from the start, instead of just like instead of just having another pair of boots just sitting there in the pool, at least for Slash Robot, the primary bot that's used for most of the daily races and just in general seed rolling, is that it's the boots that would have been in the pool is instead replaced with a green 20, and this is not affected by logic. So you could have like a green 20 where the boots were under in a boots locked location. Now, which that means that's what I mean by it's not affected by any logic.
Yeah. The boots are already considered being the feats for racers, so that green 20 is not going to be indicative of anything. But that's going to be a nice 20 they'll find on the way. If they find it early, it's going to be nice for cash wise. Horse with 250 rupees. Almost everyone has that right now. They're set for Kakariko. Zora is going to be a little bit the grind if they don't find Moon. We have a fire rod, some cash, and a piece of heart. So we have some fire to start us with. It's not a bad find. Still doesn't do anything for us, but not a bad find.
With it being early on, the fire rod really doesn't do a whole lot for us. It's with the current state where everything is current sphere 1 location. But it will open up over time once we get some more material. Bombs to end off the Hyrule Castle run, so that's sank out of the way.
And all our players are pretty much around that 530 mark, so it's not bad. I saw a green pendant on Terra and 10 crystals on Eastern and Desert Palace. So just one pendant in the light world. That's good. That's good news for the racers.
Yeah, and it's always a nice thing to have information about. And it looks like Smirk JD actually opting to not go over to just keep to not opt to go with everyone else. Instead, just go immediately to South Shore with those flippers in tow. If right now the Bonk Rocks Bonk Rocks only give us 10 arrows, but it didn't really do much. And wow, okay,
it's a nice bush crab.
Yeah,
you love that bush crab.
Yeah, and already we're seeing that we already have we're basically gonna get money for Zora right away. Just it's right out of the off. We did see a blue boomerang that was on the lumberjack ledge, so not particularly useful for anything, and objectively the worst one.
I would agree with you on that one, but that's also my personal preference. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people will disagree.
I say objective with the worst one because you can't really do a whole lot of because you can't really do splashlations with it, as opposed to the red boomerang, which the red boomerang flies farther in general.
Yeah, it's definitely a preference for most people. And then there's some that just don't want to see the boomerangs at all. So it's really up to anyone. Well, talking of boomerangs, here's the red one. The mini Moldorm Cave with a cape. Nothing much else though. So still no progression though. We'll see what the village has to offer us.
With the cape that we just got, we could go up to Aga Tower out of logic.
Yeah, you don't want to do that unless you find the lamp, though. Yeah,
but I'm just mentioning it because that is a thing you can do. Because I say out of logic because there's not enough torch boxes to light up the Aga Tower. And here's another red item. We got Kaya Samaria out of Blind's hut,
and a lot of bombs.
Yeah, and we also got a blue potion for Smirk JD. So once he makes his way over to Kakariko, he will have Sick Kid on standby.
That's good news for him. That's gonna pay off. Less chance to have to go back to Kakariko for something important. Save a bit of time there, and he's gonna use his boots to do some water walking, check up the island, then check up Obo. Probably will not go to Zora, although the waterfall fairies might be his aim here. And we found a book as well in Kakariko Well. Not an item you want to see either. So that does open desert.
With Smirk's decision to go to Hobo, the decision isn't really to go to Waterfall Ferry because he doesn't have Moon Pearl on at the ready. If he were to go to Waterfall Ferry, he would not have checked at Hobo. At least
He has flippers though.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I forgot we had flippers from this. I completely forgot we had flippers.
And we have a glove in the chicken hut. First piece of the puzzle.
All right, so I completely forgot we have flippers. So this is fine. I was mentioning mostly just referring to if you were water walking and you didn't have flippers or something, then the decision would have been to go to Waterfall Ferry first, then you do that, then you go here, then you go to Hobo sometime later on because if you did, because for whatever reason the game will try to check for Moon Pearl when you're doing a when you're coming out of a underworld, and that if you're in water, it causes you to water walk for whatever reason. I don't think it's the exact reasoning for it, but it's from what I gathered from fellow glitch enthusiast Malmo.
I am not able to explain that one, so I will leave you to this explanation you just gave. Meanwhile, we're seeing a Smirk exchanging this place with the three others by going to Bunk Rock and then Village. The race game had nothing, big red 20, so Andrew is going to be disappointed to see that it was nothing. And they will be all doing the South Shore now, before probably heading to Desert, because that's going to be your next stop. It is a crystal. We have everything we need to do it. It's not the best way to go in Desert, but it's open, so that's what we're seeing it and do right now. And New York Rambler, actually. Well, never mind. They're all going that way first.
Yeah. This makes sense because they already had the book from their time. Because with Smirk JD having with the decision to not go to Kakariko, it just immediately instead just go down to the South Shore just to get get Cape and Red Boomerang and such. Oh wow.
That was not in Desert directly. That's pretty accessible.
Yeah, so this one is this actually is kind of good. It's actually pretty good to see the Moon Pearl directly after the book, just because because you're heading to the desert area to get a crystal. You have the tools necessary to get you have the tools necessary to get your to get that clear going for desert. Yeah, it's through the book, like the vanilla way, but it is clearable, and you have a Moon Pearl right next to you, so it flows nicely.
Oh, we'll see what else Desert has for us. But so far, it's been a little bit dry. The last item is on the bus as well, so we won't know if Desert has something for us until they kill the bus, and we go from there. The only other check they have left would be Sora after that. No, the mountain's still not in Logic, so yeah. This Desert does nothing, I guess.
Yeah, but even if Desert is completely dry, you're still going for the crystal to anyway. So because this is a free crystal to pick up, you have all the tools to finish the dungeon with it. So,
of course, I mean you're already here. It'd be loss of time to just leave after finding all the items.
And yeah, you don't ever, and you probably are gonna still head over to, you're still probably gonna head over to Aeginas directly after finishing it. Unlike Andrew, where he did it before heading into desert, which is also fine. Like the order doesn't really matter all that much.
They will be happy to find out that the Moon Pearl is there for all the two others. Andrew, of course, knowing already. We are gonna see them do the South Shore after them, which would be the most dense check they could do. If they find nothing on Zora, we'll see perhaps a dip toward Eastern Palace. But there's not much left after that, so Eastern has to have something if Zora doesn't. Either it be a lamp, access to the Dark World, or something to bring us to the mountain, of course. So the mountain could be the answer there.
Hitman is employing Can Samaria strats, using that glitch check very effectively. Although Hitman is low on health, yeah.
Ooh. And meanwhile, Rambler has down the Lemolas and has gotten the first crystal.
And Hitman chose to save quit out of the fights, so out of doing another attempt, mostly because he didn't have enough magic to get to the back. Although, yeah, there's not enough magic to in the dungeon, as far as I'm aware, that you would be able to get it. So Hitman's actually leaving out a Moon Pearl by doing this.
That's right. He has not gone to Aeginas, so he is missing Moon Pearl. That's big. New York Rambler is not, though. He has decided to check Aeginas, and then we'll continue on from there. And while we're seeing Smirk starting to clear up desert, so Smirk is not far behind.
So, in this case, I think Hitman will have to be funneled back to the desert area to get that Moon Pearl. If he feels that that the Moon Pearl is on Aga, he will be in a little bit of trouble, because even though it is close enough to be on a possible Aga seed, the thought that the Moon Pearl is going to be on the pyramid is going to be wrong, considering what we know.
Of course, it all depends what they find till then, though. I mean, might be funneled back to Aeginas way faster if they don't find a lamp, for example. So as long as you don't find that lamp, you know it's something logic. And you don't want to take the chance to have to go to Aga when you might not be required to do it, simply because you might have a feeling that the Moon Pearl is the pyramid, but that's the very off chance of that happening.
Right, and with the blue potion that was picked up by Hitman, he's kind of, I feel like he may be a little annoyed about it, considering it would have been nice to have it for that fight, considering he was at 4 hearts at the time of the fight. It's not like the health pools are anything good, because Smirk's going into this at 5, going into the back of the desert at 5 hearts,
and no magic.
And no magic, yes. But he will have. But that's the good thing about having the blue potion, is that he will actually be able to burn it, and have some magic left in the tank to use on this Lambo fight. This will be a much easier fight for Smirk, and we actually saw a little bit of that with Andrew, with the little magic that Andrew had, just to get rid of the first Lambo head or Lambo snake thing.
Apparently, you do have enough magic in the back of Desert to be able to light the torch. Smirk picked up 2 small, and that was enough for 2 shots, so the Hitman could have gone back.
Right, yeah. I wasn't really sure personally.
Yeah, me neither.
Zora giving out 50 rupees, so just a 10% cut of the 500 rupees. So it's now looking like Eastern might be the play here, which is what Hitman's going for. And Smirk will also get the crystal from off of Lambo.
Yeah, and Smirk's not going to get penalized for skipping on Zora because he didn't have the money at that point.
Yeah, and much like with Rambler, he's going to be heading over to Agina, so he'll that Moon Pearl, as I mentioned already, is going to flow really nicely.
Let's see the closet. Closet has nothing. So Eastern itself. Oh, dipping Eastern without a bow. That's the fun. It's everyone's dream there.
It's one of those cases where you're kind of hoping you don't want to have to do that. Also, Rambler summoned the guards in Kakariko because he got a little too close to the snitch lady.
The kid, of course, we had seen with Smirk that had nothing. So Hitman is going to be the first going into Eastern, followed closely by Smirk. We'll see if Eastern has our answer, or if it's going to send us elsewhere, which is highly possible. I mean, they could go up the mountain. They do have a glove to go up, even though it's not in logic. But if they find the lamp, they will be more tempted to go up the mountain than anything else. Of course, a flute would send them there. But then, if you get the lamp, it's the gamble of, do you try the mountain first before Agina, or do you go Agina right away instead?
Yeah, that's one thing I have to consider as well. And even then, with the mountain play, yes, it's out of logic, but it doesn't really. There isn't a whole lot of checks you can do over on that left side of the mountain. You just have the check of you have the old man check, and then you have the 2 spectacle rot checks, and that's it. There really isn't anything to work with. It's with those 3 items.
I always forget, it's Spike Cave in logic with the bottle and the cave, though. Oh no, no hammer. I did forget. I said nothing.
You need a hammer still. You just because it is required. There is the mitts, so that will give Darkwold access to Smirk and Rambler, and soon Andrew. However, this is what I like to consider partial Darkwold access, because you still have. No, wait, no, I'm. You have the flippers, right? Aka's dead.
Yes, Aka's dead.
But if the runners didn't have the flippers, I would have considered this. It's considered partial Darkwold access for me, like because you would need a hammer or flippers, or something a hammer flippers to get over to get across to that right side. So.
But no, we're good with flippers, and Eastern has nothing else for us. So that was the answer. Mitts. They'll have to come back into Eastern once they find the bow. It's the crystal, but they might be able to combine that with Pod. They find the mirror, and Pod is actually a crystal. We are seeing Hitman doing King's Tomb now that he has the mitts. We'll see what King's Tomb has for us. Oh, piece of heart. Well, we know where the moon probably is, but it could have been armor or something else. It's important, so.
Right.
I can understand why he's doing these check too instead of going back to the desert area. You don't want back there after you left.
Correct. Yes, because because of the plate, because Hitman's decision to save quit after dying to Lambo actually had the unintended effect that he isn't aware of, and that was that he had left out Agina's cave. And in this scenario, with you dying and with you dying on Lambo and then saving quitting, then it becomes Agina's cave is actually pretty bad.
It's horrible until they find a flute. The flute would be the only reason you would want to go back there, because they have to run all the way, and takes a lot of time. Well, I think Hitman is still going there. I think Hitman figured out that his progression was there and his Moonbro was there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else for him anyway. This is his last location.
Yeah, this is the last location for Hitman. He was hoping to find something else in this area, like something to get him, just to find something that would be the Moon Pearl in this scenario. But here he is just bottlenecked into that Moon Pearl, so I have to save and quit for him. But the Moon Pearl, that's now Dark World access. Here is our map check. We have
Nice.
Pod and Meyer as pendants. 5-6 is on Thieves Town and Ice.
A nice long map check from Rambler. How was that for? So with these, with Meyer and Pod as pendants, that changed what you need. So, of course, we'll need a mirror because swamp. But the flute might not show up at all in this seed. And then you have the pod mystery, which you always wonder if you want to dip or not. But until we find that armor, well, it is a far, far away dream. I mean, yes, they could use the flippers to get there, but that's a long way to walk.
And even if you have just mirror, you still are only going to get one item from Swamp, which is the chest that's directly after open up the swamp door, the swamp key door at the front.
It could be the hammer, though.
Which, yeah, that can happen, and I have seen it happen before. And in times where I actually decided to gamble it and it paid off in the end. We have Ice Rod here in Thieves Town as MY Rambler enters it. And we also did see Master Sword from the brewery.
I mean, hammer in First Chest of Swamp is classic.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest kind of troll you kind of see in this, where it's tied for, I would say, tied with the hook shot being from the bonk chest. For me, the bonk chest in Hookshot Cave, that is one of my favorite gotchas, because you wouldn't know about the hookshot being a possibility in Hookshot Cave just by judging by the name.
No, and I totally agree. If you don't know you can bonk to get that chest, then you lose. You are far away from that chest forever because you never go there otherwise. I mean, you'll clear up Super Bunny, then you don't have to come back up until you have to do TR. If you have to do TR, and it's a long way to go back after that. Plus, you leave 4 checks behind, which you don't want to, so.
Yeah, it's a case where if that hook shot ended up being where it was and you didn't know about it, you just lose. Like in a 1v1 scenario, if you don't know about that, you just instantly lose, because you need to, unless you can hover, which I I wouldn't really recommend learning how to hover. It's just a niche thing. It's nice to have in the back pocket, but you wouldn't ever use it. And also, Rambler doing these for me a cardinal sin and just opening the chest before bombing. No, that's nothing against him by Rambler by any means. I'm just most of the time you just see they'll bomb the floor first, then you open the chest, not the other way around.
Well, something we haven't seen yet though is the rack of Skullwood. Itman decided to just go in. I do believe he's gonna go kill Machula since he's there already, but he should have waited a little bit more and could have gotten that Master Sword.
Right, yeah, because that Master Sword is there. It actually makes the fight make the fight a lot better. But this is still a doable fight. It's a little slower, but it still is doable. We do have a Cane of Burna over on Rambler's side.
That's a nice find too. Where is Smirk going? Has Smirk decided to go do Catfish and Pod instead of clearing dungeons?
This is an interesting play.
I'm not sure why. I mean, you have 2 dungeons you can clear here. Why are you going away?
This is an interesting play. With Smirk won't be clearing. Oh, I guess that explains why he didn't do a map check.
Oh god, I wonder if he's gonna regret going away now. I mean, you have 2 crystals right there, and one of them is your 5/6. We have a bottle on blind, so nothing there.
At this point, he's already at Catfish, so he might as well just clear it out while he's there.
Well, yeah, he clearly went that way to go do that, and then go to Pod.
Yeah, you don't go back on your word if you're this close to a check. So, yeah, it's not really it's not really worth just going back just to miss another check that you're just right there at. So here we're just gonna go ahead and see Smirk head into bowless, hammerless Pod. However, he doesn't have a bottle that he could use in the event that he gets bow locked to do potion camera unlock.
Did I miss him using the blue potion? Because I didn't see him use that blue potion.
He had used it during Lambo.
Oh, I missed that. That's fair. Talking of bosses, we have Itman that's done with Skullwood. Muchla had a 5er on him, so nothing for the back of Skullwood there. It was his first crystal, which is nice, so he's on the board with everyone else now. And we see Andrew following in his footstep. Oh, there's a blue mail there. That would have been nice. A little bit earlier.
It turns Batman from just a comic blue to a, I guess, movie black. Or you could also say that blue is, I believe, Batman's 66 colors, if I remember this right.
And Ike Cave, which has no eye, but a lot of love. Ooh, wait, Hookshot. Talking of Hookshot.
Hookshot and some hearts. I guess you could make some comment about Valentine's Day, even though we're in June into July.
But I mean, it would have needed to be the bow for that, not the Hookshot.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't know. Maybe just maybe I don't know. Maybe some Mortal Kombat reference. I don't know. Anyway.
And Smirk just checked the first chest of Pod and decided to leave. It must have been a key, which means that the dungeon... No, it must not have been a key, so that means that the dungeon is full locked. While we see New York Rambler heading toward Pyramid, having taken the long way around. And still with Jeremiah following.
Also, we would like to welcome on in the raiders from Speak Give Me 3. This is our Link to the Past randomizer daily race. We're playing casual boots. Tonight we have Smirk JD, Invite Rambler, Hitman 1382, and Andrew. What's been a very interesting seed so far? It's been the Moon Pearl has actually been it's actually a very nice spot for once. It actually flows really nicely with finishing Desert. However, Hitman is without the Desert clear and had gotten Moon Pearl later on because of a death that he took on Lambo. I apologize for hitting the mic like that. And I mentioned Batman already for Hitman, but our sprites for tonight are we have Smart JD playing as a Mimikyu. And my Rambler, if you've seen him before, he always runs Homer Simpson, so he runs Homer Simpson here. Hitman 1382, I already mentioned, is playing Batman, and Andrew is running the girl sprite taken from the Ancient Stone Tablets official ROM hack that was done by Nintendo for the Satellaview console. Satellaview. That was a console. It was a add-on for the Super Famicom that had a cartridge known as the BSX cartridge, and you could choose to be either a boy or a girl. And this girl character is modeled off of the hub map used from the BSX cartridge. We found a bow from the blacksmith.
Yeah, so we're both Smith today with the big D. Too bad though. That's not anywhere close to Pod right now. And considering Rambler went all the way around to the south to go check Catfish, is going to be staying far away from Pod at the moment. Even though Pod is a pendant, Pod is still a lot of checks, and there's not a lot left to find and accessible for anyone. They could go up the mountain, still not in logic, but with that bookshot, it has a lot to do up there, so it might be the next destination after that. And meanwhile, we'll see Smirk doing Skullwood, following the footstep of Andrew and Itman. And New York Rambler will be following shortly with the back of Skullwood too. We're seeing Itman in Thief's Down. Andrew's checking Bumper Ledge. I don't think we've seen anyone do that yet. That's going to be an interesting check. And just a big art. I guess Andrew's deciding to get it. He should have waited. He did this. I gave us the answer. Don't hurt the seed.
I think so. In this case, it's interesting because you don't. I would have normally left it. I guess he may be just wanting to. I think his reasoning being is that it's hard. We might as well pick it up over here. It's a full heart. He's been struggling for through a couple of dungeons, taking a couple deaths. So he's just looking for any hearts that he could find to help, just to help him get through. So, and this is just one of those hearts that he could pick up. He's got the two birth titles up on there. Smart Cheat was actually trying to fight Blind and actually ended up, or no, that wasn't Blind. Oh, what am I doing? I'm just saying.
Smirk has already killed much left. That's fine. He took a death to go back to the entrance, and then we have Rambler heading to much left. So.
Yeah, I was like, wait, no, that doesn't sound right. I thought he was fighting Blind. I just Hitman was fighting Blind. He finished that fight, but he took a death warp.
Yeah, I must have missed it. But did Andrew die to Blind? Is that why he elected to take that part after all? No, the door's not open. So Andrew just at the front of Thieves Town and then left. That's a peculiar choice. I'm not sure I agree with the decision to just do the front four and then leave. Considering it's a crystal, you need to do that. It's one of your 5/6, and there's no reason not to just clear it up. Personally, with blue mail and yeah, I mean, blind doesn't require any specific sword for it, so that's curious. That's gonna be a question to ask Andrew, I guess. The decision to just leave Thieves Town and come back in after that. We are seeing the thought from Itman here, and Smirk is heading to Ike, who's gonna soon discover that there's a lot of art piece there and art with a nice little hookshot.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, I was just about to say that they were pretty much doing checks we've seen already, so everyone is still checking the same things. We don't have anything new right now. Oh, Smirk is safe and quitting.
Without finishing Thieves Town, mind you.
Another one? Wow.
I think I don't know. This is an interesting call. He's gonna take that hookshot up to Death Mountain. This is out of logic because he doesn't have flute or lamp. But this is surprising because Thieves Town is a crystal.
I thought he finished Thieves Town though. I'm confused.
Did he? Because if he actually did finish Thieves Town, it may just not be on the tracker or something. I don't know. If it was on the track, if he did clear it, I must have not noticed it.
Well, he would have left Thieves Town to go south though, because he went south and did Eye Cave, which is what he just did in the save and quit from Eye Cave. But I don't see why he would not have finished Thieves Town while it wasn't there. But I might be mistaken. He actually did not finish Thieves Town, which that would be weird. Anyway, we are about to see new checks, because we have not seen the mountains. Death Mountain has been left untouched so far. Ooh, a sword up there. Too bad we won't get that. Mirror being not available right now. He's gonna go to the east side now. Spike Cave being unavailable until we find that armor. If the armor is on the mountain, that means that something is in pod, which would not be surprising. We do have the bow. Rambler found the bow, so it is highly possible that pod has or answer the progression here. Still no armor. Clear it, but it's pendant.
So our tracker, Ginksy Girl, had mentioned that Smirk only did the first 4 checks, and without yeah, and with the small key being the first 4, he opted to bail, and he might be looking for a hammer, from what I can gather.
So to not isolate one check. So, yeah, I mean, there's nothing that was found in Thieves Town so far. We found shovel and another bottle in the mountain though, in the meantime, but that doesn't do much. That shovel is a fetch quest, of course. A little bit out of the way though. I still don't think that's necessarily a good routing decision to just leave Thieves Town.
This is it's kind of a hard it's a hard decision to make, really. I can somewhat see might be the reasoning. It's if Smirk is that concerned about the hammer being required for the Thieves Town big chest, then that might be his reasoning for it. But then again, it's you're still missing on a 5/6 crystal. you're already missing out. You already have 2 crystals. That would have been your third. If you had chosen to go further. We also got 10% off Spiral Gate, by the way.
And we know where Gold Sword is. It's on top of Spectacle Rock. So we found our 4 swords already. Yeah. Like I understand that you don't want to skip a check in Thieves Town, because that's one of the worst places to go back to if you want me to go back to that big chest. But 5/6 crystal, I mean, your armor from full access to Ice Palace, which is your other 5/6. At this point, if you need something still, most likely Ice Palace is going to be a better check than Thieves Town. Considering you've already done half of Thieves Town, so.
Right. And yeah, it's a call. It's a call that exists. As far as it being a kind of a, it's a tough call to make, really. I actually didn't see what Smirk the medallion was. It was Bombos.
It was Bombos. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're seeing Hookshot Gate, which we talked about. This is the bone chest we mentioned that could have had the hookshot, but of course, hookshot not being there.
Right. Yeah.
The Dark Death Mountain has been pretty much empty. There's been nothing in here. There's not been anything on the mountain, actually. Yeah, no, it's out of logic, and it has nothing. It's clearly not the way to go, other than swords, of course. We found a sword. Well, 2.
Yeah, we found 2 swords, and one of them is currently accessible, and the one probably you still probably would. I don't know if you'd pick up Ghost Sword if it's freestanding there. I reckon not if you don't have if Mirror is pretty late on. There's our land, by the way. So logically speaking, because that shovel came out of the mountain. You needed the flute to get that.
So the flute must be in pod.
It would have to be, or something like that.
Well, I mean, you do have part of Ice Palace available right now, because we have everything we need to enter Ice. We just can't complete it because no armor.
Right, because we had Fire Rod. We had Fire Rod earlier on, and so we could get through the front door, but we wouldn't be able to drop down. We wouldn't be able to get the H room, and we wouldn't be able to drop down to Cold Stare.
Yeah, which means we won't be seeing it right away, unless they really don't find that armor anywhere. Start dipping armorless dungeons, which is probably gonna happen sooner than later. We're seeing Smirk go back on this decision and back to Thieves Town. Hitman checking the mountain, following in Smirk's footstep. So far, 2 of our runners have done the Smith Chain up to, well, the first part at least. So they found a bow, which might push them toward pod, even though it's hassle to get there. But this might be their best option right now, considering we haven't found anything else anywhere. And through checking King's Tomb, we know it's nothing. And then Rambler. Where are you heading, Rambler? Rambler seems to be heading toward the pod area.
Yeah, through this route, with your only route, if your only Dark World access being through CAC, you have to run through the top of the Dark World to get over to pod.
Which is what we're seeing right now with the flippers. And 10 heading down. Yeah, this is definitely a play. He's checked the mountains already too, so it's not like there's anything else to find for Rambler. So that would pretty much be a last location for Rambler.
And here we would have, if we were pretty much gonna say this is where the flute would would have to be here, or it could be some proxy for it, like the powder or the mushroom, or something else entirely.
They could not go to the powder to magic bat without the hammer or a mirror, so that's
well, yeah. I'm just mentioning it because it could, if mirror were to show up like in here as well, that's part of that proxy.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's more just semantics.
So this is the question: do you dip powder? Do you dip ice palace?
It's high. It's more dense than Hera. Plus you, or more denser than ice. Plus you, you're the thing is you're giving up one check in. You're giving up one check in Ice Palace, in Crystal Ice Palace, no less. With Pod being a pendant, then you're not like worried about finishing the dungeon, unless, of course, Pedestal. I'm looking at you, chat. Is part of the part of the seed.
They want our racers to go to Meyer instead, but we don't have medallions right now, so Meyer is pretty much closed. You woke them up.
So I say I'm looking at you, chat, because I know how chat is. I know how SG chat is. They are always hungry for Pedestal, and you know it.
I didn't mention that at all so far. You woke them up.
Yeah. It's like saying Beetlejuice or Voldemort.
All right. So far, Rambler is in Pod. So far, nothing. But we know that the front of Pod is often. That's the reality of Pod. We are seeing purple chests. We haven't seen purple chests yet from Itman.
Yeah, neither runner has done the purple chest yet.
Well, I can understand. They want the armor to not skip armor pegs. So I can understand why they're not too fond of doing purple chest. Plus, it's a lot of time. Ooh, that's the first place for the freaking mirror.
Oh, it's required. It's required skip chain.
It was all flute in Pod. We were right. The flute wasn't.
Yeah, so and that makes sense because that made sense because that was we were kind of, your flute had to have been your Death Mountain access.
It has to be. There's no choice there, but it could have been anywhere. That mirror in purple chest, that's a bow and a mirror in the smith chain. That's high value chain of checks. Very long, but jeez.
Yeah, and I don't know if Rambler would want to I don't know how long Rambler or Smirk or Andrew will be going back to do the the other part of the smith chain for that mirror, because you're wanting to, for the smith chain, you want to have mirror with you so that way you can route them effectively. But because in a mirrorless smith chain, it's really hard to route it effectively, just because you have to save and quit twice just to even to those two checks for both parts of the smith chain.
Yes, and with the way they have access to the dark world right now, it takes a while to get back to anything too. It's not like they can route it from anywhere and doing other checks in the meantime. So they have to absolutely go up to Kakariko Village to access Dark World to get to the purple chest, which is also a big problem. It takes a lot of time, and that's why we haven't seen Rambler, Andrew, and Smirk do that yet. Only Idman, so far, decided to do that. Well, Rambler is now going to go that way, so we might see Rambler pick up that purple chest. Rambler is going to go activate his flute, and then go from there. Didn't find anything else in pod so far.
Right. So in this so here, yeah, this makes sense because of the flute, because the flute location being where it is. It just makes sense just by the logic that we were kind of going off of. Pod being the more reasonable choice to make rather than over Ice Palace, Crystal Ice Palace, Red Crystal Ice Palace, where you're just missing out on a check and a completion.
Interestingly enough, though, if you don't go into pod and you do purple chest, you can go to swamp.
Yes.
Oh no, you still miss, well, the first chest of swamp, because you of course need the hammer for the rest of it. But it could be the answer. That first chest of swamp could be our hammer.
But yeah, that you are right. You are right, and that is that you can at least go into swamp just for the first chest.
Oh, there's the hammer.
Speaking of hammer, there it is. Element ether.
And, well, that's we now know the full puzzle there. Hammer with the flute, and it's bombos for Meyer, which we won't care too much, but we do need Meyer for Turtle Rock, so we are still looking for that.
Also, Rambo should have the flute here. I think Smirk's coming up on that flute soon.
Yeah, Smirk doesn't have that flute yet. It was in the back.
Right, yeah. So,
yeah,
no, Smirk is coming up.
Just right here.
Yeah, Smirk's coming up on it. Smirk's coming up on it, so you can just leave leave that out here.
Interesting. Hitman has decided to go back and finish Eastern before going in pod. It's fine because he has the mirror, so it's not like he's gonna lose a lot of time. It's perfect time as well to do it. I'm just surprised he decides to do that before doing pod. I guess he wants to just save and quit from pod though.
Right. Yeah. So this makes sense because it's a crystal, and you're going into independent pod just because you're still looking for completion. And with Rambler getting the hammer from the Meyer area, we're going to be heading into ice here.
Yep. Before swamp. Makes sense. It's your 5-6, so then you can route your 5-6 crystal after swamp and be done with it. They are looking for. Oh no, Rambler doesn't have the mirror. Never mind. He cannot do swamp. That's why he's going right away in Ice Palace.
Right.
You have to go do that purple chest. That is going to be a big. He did not go do that after activating the food.
Yes, and this is the reason why I was mentioning that this could be a problem for everyone else except for Hitman, who had done the mirrorless Smith chain and got that mirror. It's a matter of when do they go back to do it. Also, nice icebreaker from My Rambler.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see when they decide to go back to do the purple chest. The good news, though, is as long as they don't find that Bombos medallion, they're going to be funneled toward that purple chest. That Bombos medallion, however, would open Meyer and TR, which would be a big problem. Because clearing TR, Meyer is going to be a reasonable choice at that point. You do TR first, of course. You don't want to take that chance, but Meyer is going to be fully open, so you probably will want to do Meyer. Then you might end up clearing Pod too. Simply because you might, at this point, if you clear Meyer, you might as well do Pod, and then Era is going to be open. It's actually open right now, so all 3 medallion with bombos would be available. All 3 pendants, sorry.
I will also point out too, just because we're only just the bombos away from no mode. Pedestal is dead because we know of Meyer's medallion being bombos.
Yeah.
because Meyer and Turtle Rock have double medallions, and one of them is a pendant. There's no way that the one pendant, the when you go into Meyer, there's no way that the bombos could be inside the pendant dungeon or on the pedestal. So it is completely dead, and that was our only thing that was left standing.
Yes. Well, for us at least, and Itman is about to find out that the fleet leads to that. I'm pretty sure he's gonna check my Mr. Meyer area after being out of pod. There's not much left for Itman for that. But the three others have all the rest of the seat open as long as Bombos show up. If Bombos doesn't show up, then they will be funneled back to the purple chest.
Yeah, and well, this is well within under an hour. We're at Go-1 and we're under an hour. Or like no -1, and we're already just about under an hour in. Rambler will get the fourth crystal from Cold Stare as he defeats him, and will probably want to. Well, still has to go and get the purple chest. But once he does get the purple chest, I'd see him go over to I see him maybe going to
Hera?
Not Hera, Swamp.
For Itman? Yes, Itman is gonna do Swamp. Swamp is the next logical place. I'm seeing Rambler going to Era though.
Well, I meant when Rambler goes to, when Rambler gets that purple chest, he goes into Swamp. But in this case, he's going over to Hera, which isn't a bad call. It's green pendants. You have 3 items when you count the green pendant item.
And you have either tablet as well to check while you're there, because you do have to book, so might as well, right?
Right, and that's so this play makes this play is actually not bad. And in a scenario where you still have, even though you do have a crystal to clear, which is Eastern, I don't even know if that was actually cleared by Rambler.
Although I might have gone toward Pyramid Fairy before going up the mountain first, though.
It's just not a. It's just not a bad thing anyway.
No, of course not. And there we go. We are now seeing Era, and we are welcoming everyone from Speed Gaming 4. Welcome to the ALTTP Randomizer Daily Race Speed Gaming. Now we're in, and we one item from Go mode. Of course, there's the little pesky mirror hiding in the purple chest, which is what 3 of our 4 runners have not found yet, and are looking for. We might see the Bombos medallion, which is the last item we need, being only accessible through that mirror, because that would open us up Swamp, and there's K45 and Graveyard Ledge as well to open up. So we are looking at Itman to give us these check. Itman, who's gonna go finish Desert, hadn't done that the first time around. I had a death on Lanmolas, and I had to look at last location, Moonpearl, which was in Agina's cave, so that was a messy one for Hitman, but as you can see, everyone else had done Desert, so got their Moonpearl the first time around. But yeah, that's so we're looking at Hitman to find out Bumble's medallion.
Yeah, and with this situation, I see Hitman being more closer to hitting Go mode, just because of that mirror. And plus, he's had already done a couple of mirror checks already, which was great. Which was the Graveyard Ledge. K45, I don't think we've seen yet.
I missed Graveyard Ledge. Sorry. You must have done that right after activating the flute.
Yeah, it was in this case that I think, yeah, and there really wasn't anything on Graveyard Ledge as far because Darkness didn't light up anything, so We are seeing a Spike Cave play from NY Rambler directly after finishing up Hera.
It makes sense. You're right there. It's the best time to do it. You don't have any other occasion to do Spike Cave other than right after Tower of Hera, because otherwise you need to go back all the way up the mountain and you have to go through the right side. Oh no, you could go to normal stairs, but I mean, there's so much time lost if you don't do that now. So I can understand that. Question is, where is Rambler going next? Oh,
Green
going
Pennant.
to finish Eastern and turn out the Green Pennant. Yeah.
Yeah. So this. So that's actually the one time you go and finish up Eastern here. It's just because you have the Green Pennant on standby. You might as well clear. You have another crystal available to you. You're going to clear that out before you do the Green Pendant, because you can just hop down to Sasra's hut at that point. Hitman is also making his way over to Swamp Palace. This will be new information for us.
Yep, that's what we were looking for. The new information. So let's see what Swamp is hiding from us. He decided to do that before Ice Palace. I might have been tempted to do Ice before Swamp, so I could make sure I didn't do left side Swamp. But that's my personal preference.
Yeah, it would have been better to finish Ice Palace here, just because you would be able to. Once you clear out Swamp, you routed the Big Bomb, and then you turn in that for the Pyramid Fairy, so that way you could finish that out. Andrew is making his way to Eastern as well. However, this is just on a one-off, as opposed to just having the green pen available, because he still hasn't went over to the Mire area to get that hammer and also that Ether Medallion, which isn't anything of note because of the double bombos.
Yeah, it's the medallions that are hiding from us today. Oftentimes you can find two really easily, but this time they're hidden. They're well hidden.
Yeah, and to answer a question, the mirror is on the purple chest, so you have to do a forced mirrorless smith chain to get that mirror.
And get the bow.
And
Let's
bow
not
too.
forget the bow was on there too.
Yeah, bow is you have to get the bow, and then you also have mirror attached to it as well. So you're kind of like, you're more focusing on the bow rather than the mirror, so it gets isolated. Which is actually, that's kind of the worst thing about it, is that since that bow showed up on the smith directly before mirror, it actually is worse off for the people that actually didn't who haven't gone back for the purple chest. Rambler will get a bug net from the Green Pennant turn-in, so it's up to Swamp now for well, not Swamp. Never mind. Where is he? Oh, this is Pyramid Fairy. Okay, so this is
that's gonna be Pyramid Fairy. I mean, Bugnet is a unique item, so it could be worse. But not what we're looking for.
It is a unique item, but if we had hints on it, that is a unique item, along with the single arrow too, mind you. And we also have perfect sync between Smirk and Rambler.
Yeah, we will see a double Pyramid Fairy check here, while Andrew is finishing Eastern, which we know is nothing, and we are seeing Hitman go to Argus directly. Did not do the left side. Probably will keep it for after in case you find that medallion. That's the only thing he's looking for, so I can understand skipping.
Rambler opted to go for the bomb dupe. Sorry about that. I wanted to just say about the bomb dupe.
It's okay.
Yeah,
and we have explosions everywhere.
There's our bombs.
Oh, that's bad news for runners, though.
Oh, the quick medallion's here too. Oh, wow.
Medallion on Pyramid Fairy, and now our racers have the options to go to Meyer and TR. This is not a good news for Rambler and Smirk. They will
Yeah,
do TR first, of course. It's the crystal, but they won't find the mirror there, so next stop is gonna be Meyer because they won't go back to that purple chest.
yeah, and this actually is really bad, and this actually is something that they didn't want to see because they're still that gets that the bombos is like the worst thing you could have found there because you're actually that's pushing them farther and farther away from that purple chest. You have a clear of Turtle Rock to clear, yes, but you also have Meyer to consider, and I am sure that they know that the pedestal is dead, so they do know that well
Technically,
actually
it's not. They don't know because the mirror can still be on Ped.
that's correct. Yeah, that's true. They oh no, that's worse.
They haven't checked Ped, so they don't know. For them, it still could be on Ped because all the pendants are now accessible, which is why Bumble's being where it was the worst. If it had been in Swan, that would have been perfect. But now they're really isolating purple chess until the last possible check.
Yeah. So for hit, so here's the kind of the thinking I was going with. Hitman knows that the pedestal is dead, but not Smirk and Rambler, and possibly Andrew as well, because if Andrew decides to also go over to the Pyramid Fairy to get both both medallions, then he's gonna follow the same route as Smirk and Rambler are, which would be bad, and that also would lead to the possibility that Andrew would have maybe the mirrors on the pedestal. But Hitman, knowing that he had already done this mirrorless Smith chain and actually got bailed out, he doesn't have to worry about that. So, and Jinx Girls also point out too, there's still the mushroom and the powder possible on the pedestal.
Oh, good. And I mean, if you see powder or mushroom on pedestal, well, if they see powder, that brings them closer to the purple chest. If it's mushroom, it's still gonna have to go elsewhere before going back to Kakariko Village. This could take a while. I mean, we might be seeing an all dungeon here. Well, minus Daga 1, of course. From 3 of the 4 runners because of the location of that mirror, which is like the worst place possible to see.
And that's exactly why this is pretty bad. Just like this is just the kind of examples of why these two, like the two vastly different styles of thinking between two situations that they're facing. Hitman is for all intents and purposes pretty safe. He's actually pretty safe here just because of that mirror pickup that he did. But everyone else, and we're seeing those effects right here with how Smirk and Rambler decided to bolt it to Turtle Rock with good reason too. That it's a crystal, but this actually ends up being bad just from looking at it on 4 possible screens. Which, by the way, you definitely should follow these 4 screens anyway because they are the burners, but just playing with these 4 screens anyway because they are doing a good job. And also, you should definitely follow me, Artero, Jinxie Girl, and Sorcerer Finch. They're doing a good job as well.
Yes, thanks to both our trackers today, Jinxie Girl and Sorcerer Finch, for clicking the buttons and keeping us appraised of what's found everywhere, because following 4 racers at the same time is not easy. But back to our situation. So, unless one of them decide to just do it and go in and do purple chess, we know it's gonna take a while before they do that. They might not go back to pod anytime soon. I mean, they'll see that TR has nothing. They'll probably add to Meyer, but Meyer is what, 2 items? So it's not a lot. They might decide not to kill the boss, but after seeing that all dependents are accessible, I do believe that they might just decide to go kill the boss and then be done with it. Hitman is lucky. After getting that 5-6 crystal, the only thing left is the Pyramid Fairy, because Bombos lock up everything else. There's no diving other than the Era. But Era being on top of the mountain, it doesn't make sense to go there. You can do Pyramid Fairy first before doing another climb of the mountain, if you can avoid it. We know Smirk has Era left as well, because Smirk hasn't gone there. So we might see Smirk do that, but Rambler is getting closer and closer to go to Meyer.
And just a comment here, Hitman had already finished that swamp and is already heading to the big bomb. So Hitman will be the first player in go mode in just a bit, and he's actually got a very clear path. Just finish Turtle Rock, and then you're just going directly to GT. That's it. But
And
everyone else,
I will add a note that our boots were on Laser Bridge today.
yep, it's the
20.
green
That's
20
the
that gets, yeah, the green 20 that replaces the boots in the pool. That's behavior that Sosh Robot does. It is not applicable on Lazy Kid. It just gives there's just another pair of boots that's in the pool that Lazy Kid just drops in. Just to notice the differences. And we from at 1:15:33, Hitman's in go mode. And actually, one thing too, Sorcerer Finch actually pointed out that he actually skipped left side swamp, which actually saved him some time there. So he's actually in a very solid position to finish the game here. We're looking at a I would say, depending on how good the RNG is for the key layouts, I would say we might be looking at a 135 or something like that, around 135, 140.
And soon Hitman is going to be heading to GT, which means that, well, he has TR to do, but TR should be relatively fast because it doesn't have to do everything. Oh, we are seeing Andrew going to the purple chest, which is going to be nice because that means Andrew is going to avoid everything else.
Which is good news. This is actually really good news for Andrew. This is the right choice that he's making here. And I will say though, Smirk and Rambler going to Turtle Rock again. This isn't a bad idea. Like, this is not a bad call. It's just unfortunate that they got pushed to the side like this. Rambler
is checking PED.
So this is for information regarding what he should do next.
If it's the mushroom or the powder, that's gonna be something.
Just
catch cash.
Nope, it's just boring. It's just straight up boring.
All right, so the seed is not gonna be as rude as we thought it would be, but he is leaving. Oh no, he's going back to CAC. So maybe he's gonna go do purple chest right away, which would be good.
This is a purple chest play. It has to be.
Well, there's nothing else, so yes, it has to be.
Yeah, okay. So Rambler will be in go mode soon.
Andrew
he's been slashing. He's been slashing at things. He's been slashing his sword a couple of times. He's got a bit of use. So, and that is like kind of it's like, oh, that's a pretty rude spot game. Slash. So slashes.
But Andrew hasn't done Ice Palace yet, so doesn't get his crystal. He's still looking for Bumbos. He's not in gold mode yet, right. Which means he might decide to full clear swoop, including left side, depending on what's on there. I think there might be an item there, but I'm not entirely sure. I did not follow where we... Oh, we did complete ice. Okay.
Okay, so that's good. That's good to know. Yeah.
So he needs to do 5-6. He needs to do the Pirate Fairy Bomb and get out of there. Smirk.
So this actually will fall. This actually falls really nice. This actually routes in very very nicely because that's it is actually a that will lead to the bombos, which will lead to go mode for Andrew. Rambler, however, will be in go mode at 119.
And yep, Rambler is now in go mode. Oh, well, and has to do swamp. And then we can go back up the mountain. So
Yeah,
it's between Rambler and Itman. Of course, we'll be going to one that reach BT first.
So here, Hitman will have a better route through because Rambler will have, because as you mentioned, he's going to have to climb up the mountain again to get back to GT. And he still has swamp, which swamp is fast enough, which that's not a big deal. What could be a big deal though is just when and where does he because the big deal is just having to climb up the mountain. Now Hitman is getting really close to finishing Turtle Rock, so here once Hitman hits gets to try next, we will start the guessing game.
It's gonna be close though.
Fairly close, just mostly because Hitman will be heading to the top of GT, and Rambler will actually be having to climb up. By the time Hitman enters GT, I think Rambler would just be, judging by how fast Hitman's going through this and where the big key situation, where the small key is situated, he might be on the climb as he's entering GT. He's starting his climb up the mountain as soon as he gets to GT.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, with the second chest being the key there, helps for Hitman to get to Trinix before Rambler has a chance to reach Argus. So for sure he's gonna be in GT before Hitman has gone up the mountain.
Yeah, and then by the time Rambler enters GT, Hitman would have already had a couple of checks done in the basement. So it's just Hitman is pretty much well within, has a pretty solid advantage here going into this trans fight.
Yep, and the only thing that was going to be left is the routing in GT, which could make a difference. And then that routing might affect where they find silvers, for example, if they find them. So we know it could be in GT, well, it could be in Meyer as well. We are seeing left side swamp from Andrew. So these are check we haven't seen, but they don't matter. We know where Bumbles is. And Hitman is done with Trinix. So we are now going to play a little game called Find Where the Key Is at GT. There's 22 checks in GT. And if you would please put in your number in chat of where you think the key might be, please do so now. You have until Hitman reach enter GT for that. And Renderer, where do you think that key could be?
I just threw in my guess. I usually abstain. I threw in 11. And I'll also will amend something. If you are the first person to get it, or if you are the first one to get it, or are the closest to getting it, then good on you. What? Like typically everyone you'd see the common thing about, oh, it's unlimited random seeds, which you could just use Sauce robots. And also internet points, which I mean, just internet points everywhere. It's not like you can just get exclusively here.
And we are in GT, so we're starting with Homebrew, which has a key for the first check, and a hard container for the second check. deciding to go right side because we found that key, which makes sense. Rambler is starting his climb of the mountain, so we should be joining Itman in GT soon. Smirk is heading to Meyer, which is not the good news for Smirk.
Oh, that is actually the worst possible scenario for Smirk here, because Smirk is heading into Meyer with Bombos, and this is kind of the thing I was mentioning. If you had finished once you finished Turtle Rock, and if you chose to go to Meyer, you're even farther away from that fire rod. So it's really bad for him. There's powder, by the way, in
That was Oh, and it's the 5th check.
Number
that was
5.
quick.
And
that was quick.
Grand the Lurker gets it. That's one heck of a name. Good on you.
And Enigma is often doing his GT climb, so Rambler is about to enter GT. Rambler still has to get that big key. If he goes left first, that means he's going to be further and further away from Hitman. Hitman has a considerable lead now because of that. Oh, going right. Let's see if he decides to go continue on the right side or not.
A lot nowadays with routing, you see runners just go to full right as soon as you get a small key in the hope room.
Yeah.
The routing meta has changed quite a the JT routing meta has changed so that you just always go full right as soon as you go to you see a small key there. And in any other scenario you just go left. And then there you either route that into full left or a DM route.
It's usually the routes most people will take, but sometimes some racers decide to just route things differently. Andrew is going to check K45, which I don't think we saw.
I don't think we saw this either. Smirk will find half magic. Oh, there's silvers here too. Wow.
Silvers.
Oh, so that's an interesting find.
Not what he's looking for, but yes.
Not what you're looking for, but both runners did not. Every other runner did not do. Every other runner did not do K45 just because of where the mirror was situated.
Yes, and there was no reason to go do that before you did the big bomb. Andrew wasn't elected to do that. Going to check Bumbo's tablet, which we know is nothing. Check that while I was looking for Bumbos. I'd probably say that Andrew is going to go do the big bomb right after Bumbos. It would be logical. You're in that area. Or I guess not. Well, I said nothing. I stand corrected. He is going into Meyer, which is not what he wants to do. No, why? I'm concerned for Andrew now. He's going further and further away. Well, he can't enter Meyer, so he's gonna just do that single check.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is a call. I think in this is actually actively helping Andrew though, because he only has that one shack. He doesn't have to go. Won't have to go into Meyer. Whereas Smirk, just by how this ended up being, you're gonna have to go to. You're gonna have to. You just have to. He got basically baited by that Meyer play. Andrew is actually. I'm surprised that Andrew hasn't gone to the Pyramid Fairy yet.
No, he's gonna do one off, and that's include the big chest in Thieves Town. No, I don't know where he's going.
K45, Graveyard Ledge.
Graveyard Ledge.
Yeah, but this is so surprising because
so far off the way, we're right next to Pyramid Fairy. There's no reason to go off your way there before doing Pyramid Fairy.
Right.
To check in Pyramid Fairy, you have a lot more chances to get what you need, unless he forgot that he has the 5-6 crystals.
Right. Hitman will just pull Blurm 2 just because reasons, and we get a just we get a map out of it, just a party burrito.
And Smirk left Meyer and is now on his way to get the purple chest, which is just going to put him in go mode after checking Ammerpeg.
And he might be feeling a little burned by, I feel a little bummed out by that, just because he got baited, because of the fact that he went into Meyer. At least the good thing is that he got both items, so he didn't have to clear the dungeon here. So
yeah, but he has also did Era, so I can feel he probably feel behind him a lot.
A pretty good builder Aga 2 from Hitman.
That was pretty clean. Andrew is now heading up the mountain. For Era, I am questioning Andrew's routing here. It's definitely going to be a question for Andrew. Why deciding to skip Pyramid Fairy altogether?
So I will say something. I will probably want to point out something. Tim is saying that Pyramid Fairy is not a check that he tends to make. So that might be the reason why hasn't put off. He's putting off Pyramid Fairy for as long as he has. It's a little interesting to it's interesting just because, like, yeah, it would be nice to have to go and have to go. It would be nice to go to Pyramid Fairy, but if this is a decision that he doesn't tend to make, then that will push him further and further away from the goal. Hitman is in phase 3, by the way, about to enter phase 4.
Yeah. Yes, we know where the silvers were, so K45. Thank you, Gannon, for telling us, but we found them. It shouldn't take too long with phase 4. Andrew's going to check Spike Cave now. I get that you don't necessarily tend to make the Pyramid Fairy check, but between going up the mountain and doing that, I would have done that before. I'm pretty sure Andrew will review his decision making on that after finding out that Bombos is hiding in there.
I don't know. It's a decision. It's one of those decisions that you make in a seed, and you kind of hope it's not. But GG's in the chat for Hitman 1382, and we'll be finishing this out with an official race time of 132 flat, and that is actually good enough for fourth place overall. Fourth place overall. Killer App 23 was the first one to finish with 125.16, followed by Gilgamesh in seconds with 128.31, and Shady Force 6 seconds off with 136. Like, no, I'm serious. 1 hour 30 minutes and 6 seconds, not 136 flat. That would have put him in like fourth place or fifth place.
Yes, GG to Hitman. That was an interesting race. For casual boots, an hour and a half is rather long.
Yeah, but, and this is despite the fact that that Hitman had taken a death on Lambo and actually had left the Moon Pearl behind after a save quit. So, yeah. But it still managed to pull away with a 132 flat.
Yeah, it's fourth place finish isn't bad. I mean, it's definitely like going for that purple chest before anything else helped a lot.
This was out of a pool of 2 runners, 21 runners too. So this actually is pretty solid.
Yep, it is. And we're seeing Rambler in fourth phase with a few more spins to do. Oh, missed the torch glitch there. And he's very low on magic.
This is still doable with just the lamp. I think he still has potions in the hand anyway.
Oh yes, he does have a blue potion. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I figured because he's got 3 potions. He's got like 3 he has like 3 balls. He should have at least 1 blue potion available to him.
He would probably have gotten 1 if he hadn't. Otherwise, I can't imagine you go into Ganon with little to no magic and ensure you had the potion. Well, GG's to Rambler as well, who finished in 6th place at the time of 1:34.28. Preceded by Keide Rukawa at 1:33.27.
Yep, that was a good race overall. But it was actually really overall actually again not bad of a result, even if especially for Rambler, where he actually had gotten Mirror as go mode, and here we have Hitman and Rambler in the booth with us. GG's.
GG's.
Yo,
GG's both of you.
Yeah, I was just mentioning that Rambler's go mode was different compared to Hitman's, because Hitman's all he really needed was to get bombos, whereas Rambler, you had to find the bombos.
No, I had to find the mirror.
I meant the mirror.
Yeah, but I mean,
Words.
I think having Gomo and mirror as opposed to bombos might have benefited me a little bit in the fact that there's so many other one-off checks that I didn't have to check anymore, like all the mirror checks.
Right. Which silvers were actually at K45, so there was no way you would have gone it. Andrew
probably.
Andrew is the only one who has it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a bad location to have that be. But I mean, mirrorless Smith having 2 required items is pretty rough.
Yes, it's what we were talking about. Finding that bow on the Smith at first, you pretty much think that maybe there's nothing else on the purple chest because you've already found a pretty much important item.
Especially after I found the flute and pod, which was blocked by a bow. And I knew that the flute had to be somewhere, and I knew my progression had to be behind flute because I logic broke Death Mountain, found the lamp, was locked behind Death Mountain. So I was like, all right, a flute's somewhere, it's probably in pod, and it's probably going to be what I need next, somewhere in my area, and I was right. And that's what unlocked the rest of the seed for me, so I was like, why go back to finish, do purple chest, when I have, I can do all of Ice Palace, I can do all these other things.
If you had found out that the powder or the mushroom was on Ped, would you have been tempted to go get Ped?
Well, I didn't check Ped till very late, obviously, you saw.
Yeah.
If it was powder, I might have done Mire and Pod. Yeah, I might have done Mire and Pod before I did Hammerpack's purple chest. If it was like a fetch quest. Because it wasn't, I was like, all right, let me do purple chest first, because why do all of Mire or kill Helma when it could be right here?
Yeah, that's a fair decision. That's we were hoping that was nothing like a fetch quest on Ped, because obviously would have just
I found the fetch quest.
Information
it was
there.
Upstairs GT. That's why I thought the silvers were going to be on turning in mushroom.
Yep, they're on K45 actually.
Oh well. I haven't done silverless in a long time. I don't play much anymore because I'm working a lot and all that. So I decided to join this because I am in the Casual Boots tournament. Want to at least get to de-rust a little bit, and I'm still a little rusty. I was shaky in some parts for sure, but this is just a good seed because it was able to do a lot of things for me. Like I was able to see a lot because basically I checked every location other than 3 looking for that mirror. All I had left was the 2 items of Mire and the item on Helma.
And we had Hitman at the start, who had an unfortunate death on Venmo, which set him back a little bit because you didn't go to Agina's for the Moon Pearl right away. Had to last location that.
Ah.
Yeah,
That Moon.
after the death on Lamo, I kind of felt a little bit, I guess, tilted from that. So I saved and quit. And as soon as I saved and quit, I was like, man, I should have checked the Gina before I saved and quit. But it is what it is.
Yeah, did everyone, all four of us, do low percent land mode there? Like, we didn't have magic for fire rod, so I was like, I hit I think 2 fire rod shots off.
Yeah, everyone did low percent. Renmo. It's everyone first dungeon was desert. It's logical.
That makes sense. When you get the book, the gloves, and the fire rod, I mean, it kind of points that way, even though it wasn't the answer at all, other than the Moon Pearl being next door. Yeah.
Yeah, I even thought about holding off on Lamo, but then what if Myra is a pendant and I never come back over here? So
Yeah, exactly.
luckily, you know, the flute led me back over there, so it was easy to clean it up later on. But it didn't make me feel good, that's for sure.
Yeah. I think I prefer having Go Mode Mirror over, say I found the mirror before I found the flute, and I would have checked a bunch of mirror spots very slowly before being like, alright, I guess I gotta go find a flute somewhere. Because I would have done Hera, it was nothing. I would have did K45, got my silvers, that would have been nothing. Graveyard Ledger's obviously nothing. I mean, there was nothing behind the mirror, so.
Nope, there was nothing at all in Swamp. Even left side was nothing. So definitely,
Yeah, I didn't.
Definitely, the mirror didn't lead to
I
me.
opened 3 chests in Swamp. I didn't care. if the silvers were in one of the checks that I did not open, so be it.
Yeah,
Same thing with Gannis Tower. I god routed Gannis Tower, but I did check upstairs.
When I was in Swamp, I was Bombos from Go Mode, so I was not doing left side. Even if there were 3 items in there, I would have held off on it.
When I found Hammer, I needed just those 2 for Go Mode, and I, didn't find either one wherever I went. Like Ice Palace had literally nothing other than an unlock Bombos, but I didn't go there right away. I think I did Hera before it.
Well, actually, both Thief Town and Ice had nothing.
Yeah, but Thief Town wasn't hammerlock though, so
that's true. That's true.
There's the small cubes in the front, so that wasn't anything. But Ice Palace obviously was hammerlocked.
Yeah, that's...
Before I went into Pod, there was just a lot of bad choices, it seemed like. So Pod seemed like the best of the worst choices.
Yeah, I was thinking about going to Pod earlier, I think, before I did Smith Chain the first time, like without Bow. And I'm glad I went with Bow, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you did go check the first chest in Pod, and then you saw it wasn't a key, so you left on. Because you did that after doing Catfish in Pyramid.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, I did Pyramid Cat. That's what I did. Pyramid Catfish before I did Pod. Then I turned in the Smith and because I had the Smith with me, so I couldn't go into Pod. So I did all that before I went to the Smith. Turned the Smith in. Smith obviously gave me a Bow, and that's when I probably should have gone to Pod. But again, without Flute and without Hammer, it's such a long trip to get over to Pod. So I think it made more sense because I was thinking in my mind it's probably Lamp in Pod. And then maybe the Hammer's up on the mountain. That's what my thought was. Of course, it was the other way around. The Flute was there to get up the mountain, but Mountain only had basically the shovel to get the lamp, and the answer was in Myers area. So, my thinking was correct in that Pod had progression to get to the Hammer. It was just the wrong order.
Yeah, it was easy to call that the Flute was in Pod after seeing that shovel bring to the
for sure.
the lamp there. We both called that right away.
It could have also been an Ice Palace, but that would have been really mean. So I didn't like that.
Anything else about the seed? I mean, the seed was interesting for the purple chest, but otherwise it was pretty straightforward.
It was pretty sure. I mean, like early Ice Rod's always nice to have, but yeah, having Mirror Smith having 2 items and then having Pyramid Fairy also have required item, like a lot of bad locations with items is going to contribute to a seed where not a lot of runners are going to put up good times. Honestly, first place overall was 125, which is pretty slow when you think about it. So
Yes, it's a surprising time for casual boots.
yeah,
Usually they'll
usually
do a
you'll
bit
see
fast.
definitely in the 1 teens is usually what you normally see in casual boots. So seeing first place being 125 is definitely something. Like I always try to think like a normal C would give me a sub 90, and this was sub 135, which is better than my usual full clear to world. But
Yeah, especially with only one required item in a pendant dungeon.
yeah.
You would expect it to be a little bit faster, but like you said,
So
you have
I
those
did
bad
clear Kara
locations.
for nothing. So oh no, I got that sweet bug net off Green Pendant. That's sweet.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, you were a bottle away from finding everything. Considering we knew where the blue boomerang is.
Yeah, I knew where Blue Boomerang was. It was on and yeah, it was one bottle, and I knew where the gold sword was, and I knew where the mirror shield was. I just didn't know where red mail was. So red mail and the fourth bottle was all I was missing.
Meanwhile, Smirk just finished cannon here, so GG in the chat for Smirk.
Yo, GG Smirk.
Yep, he will be finishing third on our restream with an official race time of 1:44.44, 13th place overall, which follows Homemade Beer, Shimaru, Scrupula, Barrett 777, Matt 7898, and Scoople.
I don't know what happened to Matt and Scoople because they're good runners, and
Yeah, that's actually surprising to see them at like
yeah, exactly.
yeah. In the meantime, though,
Some people though won't go for that purple chest without the mirror. So
Yeah, so
that's the thing. Yeah, that's
I mean-
like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you say they did Meyer and Helma instead of Mirror, it's still like not that big of a deal, I don't think, unless they full clear Meyer. Like I guess if Vidi had an item, then yeah, that's a bad Meyer.
No, Smitty, Vidi didn't have it.
Okay, oh, someone did Meyer and so nothing.
Yeah, Smirk went.
Okay, then never mind. Then I don't know.
Smirk was in the same situation of Gomo item being the mirror. So, talking of Smirk, just joining us here, GG Smirk.
Thank you. GG's to Hitman and Y Rambler as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We were mostly talking about like how if you had gotten the bombos before Mirror, that actually would have led to a scenario where like you're hunting down Mirror, and the worst possible scenario is that you would have went into Meyer as well, which is what happened with you. But Rambler didn't go into Meyer.
Oh, okay. Oh, so NY Rambler also got Bombos first, but didn't go into Myers.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I was like, wait a minute, the smart play here would be to do a relatively faster check, which would be, hammer pegs and purple chest. But I'm like, my thing is I hate purple chest to begin with, and mirror and purple chest, which is a meme, is like my, like, if it happens, I'm not gonna, like, it's always gonna be my, like, last location or near last location. My biggest concern was actually that, like, I routed really funky in the beginning, and I didn't have money for Zora when I went there. So I was like, oh my gosh, what if this mirror has been on Zora this whole time? And then I went and bought blue potions and realized I was like, oh shoot, I just bought myself under 500. So I was like panicking the whole time.
It makes sense. I mean, that mirror location is not an easy one for anyone. It's one thing that people dislike is doing mirrorless Smith chain. Personally, after finding a bow on the Smith.
Yeah. Did anybody on Restream actually do the full Smith chain like before continuing?
Yes, it meant it.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah, I thought about leaving after the bow, but I was like, if I leave now, I'm not gonna come back. So let me just get it out of the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It ended up being the right choice for the end in the end because that actually gave you a good solid advantage considering where the bombos was.
Yeah, I mean, like getting the mirror that early, I think, on the one hand, it's awesome because it avoids a potential last location. But on the other hand, it also gives you a ton of mirror checks, right? Because like you probably full cleared swamp, and did all like the mirror checks on the way, and until getting to that Bombos on Pyramid Ferry. So I'm curious to see like what your route was there.
Well, after getting the mirror, I went to the pod Eastern because I had to finish up Eastern, and I was planning on dipping into pod. So I, with the mirror, went through the Dark World over to there, cleaned up Eastern, then did pod minus Helma. Then with the flute, obviously went to Mire, got the hammer, then did Swamp, didn't do left side,
Okay.
and then into Ice, followed by the Pyramid Ferry. So I really didn't do too many mirror checks. I think I did do Graveyard Ledge. That was about the only one.
Oh, okay. So you managed to skip a bunch of mirror checks. Well, that's good. Yeah, especially with skipping left side swamp.
Yeah, being just Bombos from Go mode, one item over there, I wasn't going back in.
Yeah, that
Oh,
makes
I
sense.
did do Bombos Tablet also after Swamp, so that's another mirror check.
Oh, okay.
But that's a quick one.
Yeah, that's.
Hoping for that vanilla Bombos.
Didn't decide to pick up the gold sword, or
Nah, because I didn't go back up the mountain, so I didn't like if Pyramid Ferry came up empty, my next play was to go up to Hera and Ether Tablet and fight caves, so I would have grabbed it along the way there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I went up the mountain like towards the Hera area and then hammered over towards the Turtle Rock thing to get the water sword just cause.
Yeah, once I was in Go mode, it was out of my mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely the right way to do it. Looks like Andrew found the silvers. Where was that at?
In K45.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing worth of the mirror checks, because everything else ended up empty.
Yeah, another thing that got me a little bit worried too was like after I had gone through all these pendants, I was like, oh wait, maybe I should actually be clearing like hair. I was like, ooh, maybe I should clear this in case it's pet. But I was like, nah, it's gonna be pet, right? So that was risky, but
Well, that was a question that we asked Scrambler. If Ped had been... Well, you didn't check Ped. Scrambler went and checked Ped before diving more into the Pendant Dungeons. But had it been the mushroom or powder on Ped and you got check Ped, would you have gone for Ped?
ooh, I think if I saw powder or mushroom on pad, I would go and do like smith chain and stuff like that before the pendants. So like I think giving an item like that, I definitely try to get like what's easier than committing to a full like pendant dungeon clear scenario, which is kind of weird, right? Because I did like without knowing anything about it, I just was like, yeah, let's go to the pendant dungeons. But to me, that's like the pendant dungeons are just as likely to have items as overworld, right? So like if you can get into them, like it's the same as like overworld. So I guess like the myth, I was like I try to follow items a lot, and the myths are something I like struggle with because it opens so much stuff. And one of the like the main things that the myths opens is the smith chain, but it also opens like Ice Palace and like I even debated going to Ice Palace before the hammer. So um yeah, I try to follow my items, but then like once you have like almost everything, then it's like, well, everything's available. Where do you go, right? So
Oh yeah, definitely. Partially when the only thing left is the mirror, which can be anywhere but in Swamp. So there's a lot of checks to do then.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when you get the mitts before the hammer, it gives you so many options and a lot of bad options also on the table.
Yeah.
Like you have that hammerless ice possibility, Hammerless
Mhm.
pendant pod, which isn't usually
Yeah.
as bad as crystal, but
Yeah, that's not as bad as the crystal one, because yeah. But like, and I wanted to like to go to pod early, and there was something there, but like it was bow locked, right? And I thought like on the way over there, I was like, oh yeah, I have my potion that I found earlier. But then I was like, I'm getting there, I'm like, oh wait a minute, hold on, I used that potion for a faster Lambo battle, so so that's done because I would have been able to get that flute earlier, and then the hammer earlier as well. But there's no way I would have missed the that mirror that mirror for a long time. I hate the Smith chain, so especially mirrorless.
It's the feeling that a lot of people are sharing. Mirrorless Smith-chain is not a good one.
Yeah.
Everyone try to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah.
A question for you, Smirk, actually. We saw you dip into Thieves Town and then leave.
Yeah.
Were you hoping to find the armor before doing the rest of Thieves Town?
I was. So I, I hate like skipping the Thieves Town big chest. So finding the small key in the front, I was like, I know that the play is just do it, right? But like that Thieves Town big chest is a dangerous little chest, and so I was like, nah, let's go find a hammer first. And I was like, it's got to be like almost every time when I get mitts and moon pearl, I like to do that turn jump over to pod. But we had flippers this time, so like it was already in logic. But then I was like, okay, it's gonna be in pod or something in pod, which will lead to it, which was correct. The flute was there, which led to the hammer. But I just messed up with the whole bottle situation. I thought I still had a bottle as I was making that decision, and then once I was over there, I was like, oh, it's too late. Well, let's just hope for a not bow locked pod.
Which of course it was, as it most of the time is.
Yeah.
It's the thing with pod, right?
Yep. So then I was like, all right, I'll just suck it up and do Thieves Town, because I was already playing pretty inefficiently and running around the entire Dark World that way without the flute, or the mirror is like really annoying, right? You have to like save and put to Sanctuary, run all the way to the 3 spot, and go through the Dark World and run around. And I was like, okay, I need to stop taking these giant circular walks through the Dark World. So I just do it this time here on the Thieves and progress into the Smith chain after it. So, and then I found the bow, and because I was going to do the whole Smith chain there, I was like, all right, I'll do the Smith chain. I gotta suck it up and do it. But then finding that bow, opening up like Eastern, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And pod.
Well, any other thought on this seed? Well, we're watching Andrew going after the big key.
I thought it was a fun seed. I definitely think my plays didn't really work out today, but but it was a fun seed. I like seeds that are puzzly, and this one was decently puzzly.
Oh yeah, it was an interesting seed to watch and to speculate on what you all would be doing next, and if you were going to get trapped by that Bombos medallion or not. After seeing where the mirror was, that was the big unknown there for part of the race, seeing how things would work out, and if you would all get at the mirror before diving too deep into that Bombos medallion.
Well, I'm glad I was able to do that, so that you guys could prove that it was possible.
Yes, thank you for racing, all 3 of you. A reminder to chat, please follow these racers. They are amazing this game, so and so you should follow them and watch them more often. Most of them are part of multiple tournaments as well, so you will see them again for sure in these tournaments. And we are seeing Andrew heading up GT right now, having found the big key. So Andrew is making his way slowly to Agatu and then doing that Ganon's fight. He's making a pit stop for some fairies and magic, then going back up. I didn't notice, but Andrew found a lot of hearts. Actually, he's now at 18 hearts, so definitely not an LTC there. We're only missing the red mail, I guess, from everything. That's interesting.
Thank you for shouting us out, Arterial. I want to say thank you as well to you and to Professor Rinder for doing comms today, and to Speed Gaming for setting us up with a 4-man restream. I can't remember who mentioned who the trackers were, but thank you to them as well. So,
Jinxie
really
Girl
awesome.
and Sorcerer Finch are today's tracker.
Okay,
Both
awesome.
of them, big thanks for their work.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yeah, definitely shout out to Renderer, because I'm pretty sure if it wasn't for Renderer, these things wouldn't be taking place, because he puts in so much work to making sure that these fire off. So big shout out to Renderer for that.
Yes, please follow Sorcerer Finch, Jinxie Girl, and Professor Renderer as well for their excellent work. And yes, you're right, the Renderer is mainly driving the daily races, at least for the volunteer side. It's often Renderer asking for people to help out.
Oh yeah, I'm always
So-
I always get those pings. I always look around. I can't help out set up as much as I used to because my current work situation, I can no longer have easy access to computers. But I used to be able to do that when Renderer was like, "Oh, I'm busy," or "Oh, this and that."
Yeah, and we definitely if you also want to help out with these dailies, you definitely should join our Discord. And we'll help you get you're on your way if you ever want to do tracking or commentary or whatever. I'm always there to help you.
Lots of friendly people over there, so please don't hesitate.
All right, well, I'm gonna head on out. GG's everyone, and hope to see you all again soon one day. I know I don't play these as much as I want to, or as much as I'd like to. I want to more, you know that, but it's not. But IRL always comes first. But thanks everyone for putting this on, and GG's to everyone.
GG Rambler. And Andrew is about to reach Agatu.
Yes. While he's about to finish up, I will actually go over to the rest of the schedule for tonight, and going into tomorrow. Currently, as it stands, there is a Pokemon Crystal Randomizer Cinco Bingo tournament matchup going on over on Speed Gaming, along with the Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide weekly on Speed Gaming 3. Going into 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time, there will be a Super Metroid Randomizer multi-category tournament race going on. So definitely want to stay tuned for that. There's also going to be much more where that came from going into Thursday, where at midnight there will be a new Super Mario Brothers Summer Tournament matchup happening on Speed Gaming 2, and also at 4 in the morning here in Eastern Time will be a Pokemon Crystal Cinco Bingo tournament matchup. The rest of them, this also will be talking about a bunch of these SM rando multi-category tournament matchups and Cinco Bingo tournament matchups. But there isn't anything assigned for tomorrow. So just take a look at the keep the speed gaming schedule in mind as going into tomorrow. And tomorrow's daily race will be not speed. Open fast 6-6. So it's open fast Ganon, but you don't have to, you don't need to do another crystal. You just only have to do 6 crystals. You can skip 1 crystal dungeon. And
fast being that they don't need to do GT.
Yes, it is a fast Ganon seed, meaning that you can just go upward to the Ganon hole and then just drop down at will. And then going into Friday will be the light speed daily race, where all you have to do is just fight. All you have to do is just get the stuff you need to finish the 3 pendants in the light world, grab the Master Sword off the pedestal, and then kill Aga 1 for the Triforce.
I'm looking forward to these 2 races for the rest of the week. Open fast 6-6 is always fun. I've not done Lightspeed yet, so that's
Lightspeed's an interesting mode just because it just makes the game it's a very short game. But anyway, GG's in the chat for Andrew. We'll be finishing off our restream with an official race time of 2:05:20, finishing 17th overall. With Tyler Van, Taco, and Arya Stark 29:42 finishing right before Andrew.
Yes, now we'll see if Andrew joins us. So yes, we're gonna invite Andrew in for a little talk. So,
Yeah. And
GG, Andrew.
Here's Andrew.
Hey, y'all, GG.
GG's, Andrew.
No, that wasn't GG.
Yeah.
So sloppy. It just wasn't an on day for me.
I mean, if it wasn't for the last or almost last location on Pyramid Ferry, you would have had a pretty decent time, actually.
Yeah, and I accidentally mismarked my map. That's all that was. I went back to Eastern because I knew Helma had 1 more item since I didn't kill him, and I was looking like, what am I missing? And then all of a sudden, I saw 2 red crystals. I'm like, oh no. So then Pyramid Fairy and got the other 2 medallions.
That would explain. We were wondering why you chose to do all these single checks with the mirror instead of doing Pyramid Fairy while you were there.
Yep.
And that would explain.
Yeah. I fudged my tracker. Yep.
Man,
Well,
that stinks.
Yeah, it happens. Just learn from it, I suppose.
Yeah, it definitely happens. Not speaking from experience, no.
No, not at all. Definitely something I haven't done before. Never.
Right.
Why? No, of course not. At least I didn't have to go to Meyer. If there's some bit of redemption there, no Meyer. So
Yeah, I definitely did go into Meyer, so
yeah, I saw both Meyer and TR were bombos. So I figured once I had everything else, there's no reason to go to Meyer. So yeah, like I said, had I marked it right, it'd probably been a lot faster. Probably would have been about 20 minutes faster, probably. Hopefully my race tomorrow in the mentor tournament doesn't go that badly.
who are you playing against?
Give me 2 seconds, I can tell you. Tails Cora.
Okay. And who's your mentor going to be, and who is their mentor?
Theirs is Orange, and mine's going to be Jon Snow.
Awesome. That should be fun to watch.
Yeah, John. I actually had John last week, and I felt I feel I could still learn quite a bit from him. He's absolutely fantastic.
He is.
All and really all the mentors that I've had throughout it. Pix. I've had CJ. I've had Professor Sniper. Professor. No, not sorry. Jesse. Can't remember his screen name.
Yeah.
Radical Sniper 99.
Thank you, Radical Sniper. Yeah, they've all been absolutely fantastic. Just a random side note: any of you people that haven't gotten into races or anything like that, and you want to learn, and you want to get better, definitely check out next year's mentor tournament. You're going to learn a lot. Even since I've just started doing it, my average seed has gone to like I had one sub 2 hour. My average is around 205. My average is a lot closer to like an hour 50 now. So if you guys want to get a better game, definitely check out next year's mentor tournament.
It is a great place to learn, and I'm actually one of the mentors too. So if you ever need some of my help, and if you thought my commentary was more informative and all that, definitely check me out. I try my best just to help explain basic stuff and logical implications.
Yeah, you'd be a really good mentor, Professor Renderer. You have a lot of knowledge and all that stuff. And I actually think like all of us here on Restream are mentors as well. NY Rambler and Hitman, I believe they're both mentors as well.
I believe so, yeah. Yeah, I think we're just about to close things out here. So if you got any final thoughts, go ahead and just speak your mind on it.
Just
reiterating the thanks again.
Yeah. And everyone, check your trackers. Make sure they're right. Other than that, it was a lot of fun. It really was.
Even the best runners are prone to mistracking a crystal or a pendant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can happen to literally anyone, anytime. You've seen it happen with the best. So, thank you all for participating in the daily race, and thank you everyone for watching. We hope you enjoy the show that these runners put on. Please follow them if you haven't done so yet. We've put the links in the chat. I also want to thank again Jinxie Girl and Sorcerer Finch for the tracking. Excellent job as always. And thank you, Professor Renderer, for doing comms with me today. I hadn't done comms in so long. Glad I had someone I was used to it next to me.
Yeah, it's great to have you in the booth as well. And yeah, so with that being said, take it easy, everybody, and have a good rest of your night.
Good night, everyone.
Night.